Hey everybody! In today's video, I am going to show you how I created this super fun squirrel art journal page. I have this amazing squirrel stamp, and since March, I've been feeding Clarence and all of Clarence's babies. I thought that this would be a perfect way to finish this sort of cool colored art journal page that I did over the weekend with lots of fun turquoises, and I had thought that I was finished. That's why you see a date stamp on the bottom. But then when I realized it really needed a warm colored focal point and I had this squirrel, I was like, I have to do this. So I was showing you the transparent gesso that I used on this page. This stuff is amazing. I just got it. And I love it, so I'll link you to that below. I'm not a big gesso fan, as you know. So to find a gesso that I really like the Deco Art Chalky Gesso, and then this transparent gesso, that's saying a lot coming from me. So I'm stamping the squirrel image onto the layout with VersaFine Clair, and that's because I'm going to be fussy cutting the squirrel, and so I'm cutting off a lot of like the whisker detail and the little furry bits that are sticking out, but I still wanted to see those under the fussy cut squirrel. So I stamped him on the page so that they will show up behind my image. Now I'm just very not expertly coloring the squirrel image at all. I'm working dark to light. So I'm coloring him with Copics, and I wanted him to just be a big contrast to what was on the page. So I will use just 3 colors of markers here. But I want to tell you about what I was doing in the background before I cut out this little squirrel. So on the right, you can see a page that I had already done. I will have a video coming on this page, so I'm not going to talk about that here. But on the left-hand side, I bought the sprays, and I was just experimenting with them the first day that I bought them. So, and I try to always do that in my art journal because I can always make a background. So I took the blue spray and I sort of watered it down and I sponged it through the diamond stencil that I will give you a link to. This was part of a Halloween release for Tim Holtz. After I did that, I, on the left-hand side, did some secret writing up the left-hand side of the page. That's one of my favorite techniques. Then I used a script stencil and an art Foamies set of stamps to create the textures that you see top left and top right with black soot Oxide ink. Then I put the rice paper, this beautiful rice paper that coordinated with the colors in the background. I tore strips of that, put it down with matte medium, and then I used a crayon to create the drop shadow for the banner that you see sort of in the center of this page. Then I splattered the whole thing with the spray, the acrylic spray, to get the orange dots. And that's when I thought I was done. I was like, it has complementary colors. It looks good. I love the banner in the middle. I put a little sentiment down at the bottom, these little stickers, and it says altered time. And I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but I actually did this during the time change weekend. So this is perfect. So now I have the squirrel image of Clarence all cut out, and I can glue him down on top of this. It just really needed more of a complementary pop than I created with those little splatters of orange. So after I, just gave it a 24-hour break and came back to it, I was like, you know what? I need to add a focal point. So even though I had already stamped the date, which usually means it's done, I was like, I gotta have this little guy. Look how cute he is. He's so cute. He's perfect for that. So I put my acrylic block on him after I put glue on there just to sort of weight him down. That's a trick I learned from Sandy MacGyver. love that method of gluing things flat. And then for this little solid squirrel image that is from the same set, because Clarence has had 2 sets of babies this year, so there are lots of baby squirrels in our yard. I wanted to fill him in a little bit with my Copic multiliner since it's a silhouette image. I'm just showing you the gesso here that I love. I'm coloring on top of gesso, and so that means that the marker picks up a little gesso every now and then. So I'm just scribbling on a piece of paper off to the side to clean that off of the nib and keep going. But I wanted to darken him up a little bit. I had stamped him with VersaFine Clair, and he just wasn't dark enough to sort of stand out from the black soot details that I had in the background. So I'm coloring him with my Copic multiliner that I am cleaning off religiously whenever I need to. Just make sure that you do this before you recap the pen. You're not going to hurt your Copics, but it will get a little coating on there that I like to just get off by scribbling. And I think he looks great. So much black, and he's like weighted by the black sentiments at the bottom. So I have 2 of those elements sort of balancing the page. And it just looks so much better filled in like that. I just think it's so cute. And he's on top of the tissue paper. So I tore that tissue paper into a few strips to put down on this page. And I love the way that it looks. Now I'll show you a close-up. So it's funny that this happened during the time change that has thrown off all of our animals, including our squirrels, having to feed them at a different time. But also, because I thought this journal page was finished, and it wasn't, I'm also going to alter the time that I stamped on it by stamping the second date because I finished it the next day. So I will add that date. But up here, I noticed that the little baby squirrel was touching that Art Foamies image, and I wanted a little bit of space so that he could sort of have his own room on the page. And so I just eliminated that little bit of ink with a white gel pen, and that looks great. You can't even tell that that's not what I was doing. So here you can see the dimension and what all the different elements look like on the page. Going around the edge of the fussy cut squirrel image with a black marker like I did makes all the difference in the way that looks on the page. And you can see how shiny these little orange dots are. That's one of the things that I love about those sprays. I just think it adds like a texture and a contrast on a page that mostly has matte medium or gesso. So here is the finished journal page. Head over to my blog for more information, and thanks so much for watching.